The sun had barely risen over the quiet streets of Charleston, South Carolina, when Olivia stood in the bakery's back room, her hands moving on autopilot, kneading dough and arranging trays of pastries, but her mind was anything but calm. The smell of fresh bread and vanilla, usually comforting, now felt like mockery. A storm raged inside her chest, fueled by the messages she had received the night before from Detective Harris. She had been meticulous in her work, noting every detail from the previous evening: dates, times, locations, even the name of the hotel. Her fingers worked as if possessed, writing on a notebook while her heart sank deeper with each passing memory. Liam and Ava, the people she had trusted most, had constructed a perfect lie, a performance she had fallen for over decades. The first evidence arrived in the form of a message from Detective Harris. "Olivia, sending you more proof." When she opened the photos, her stomach churned. Liam, wearing a crisp navy shirt, stepped out of a downtown law office, a sleek black briefcase in hand. By his side, Ava wore a beige dress and oversized sunglasses, her hair in a high ponytail, perfectly concealing her face from prying eyes, or so she thought. They moved together, close, intimate, betraying every public performance of detachment they had orchestrated. Olivia zoomed in on the next photo, Liam and Ava standing before the grand facade of the Magnolia Hotel. Its glass doors reflected the morning sun, and a gilded plaque gleamed like a taunt. "No lie could hide here. No escape." Every fiber of her being screamed that this was the betrayal she had feared, and yet it was so much worse than her imagination. Then came the video. It was brief, taken from a distance, but the intimacy was undeniable. Liam's arm encircled Ava's waist on the hotel balcony. Her head rested lightly against his shoulder, hair lifted by the wind, sharing a kiss that cut through the illusions Olivia had clung to. Frame by frame, Olivia replayed the footage, her pulse hammering like a drum in her ears. She remembered the days when Liam had carried flour sacks with her, when the bakery had been a place of dreams and laughter. Those memories now felt like cruel mockery. Ava, once a daughter-in-law she had welcomed, smiled in collusion. This was not an isolated indiscretion. It was a carefully choreographed affair. Detective Harris's next message appeared. "They rented a room for the afternoon. Looks like they'll stay the night. I'll continue monitoring." Olivia's throat tightened. Hours earlier, Liam's text had read, "Olivia, I won't be home tonight. Meeting a potential partner from out of town. Get some rest." The tone, always sweet and attentive, had been nothing but a mask for his treachery. She saved every photo, every frame of the video, each click an affirmation that the world she thought she knew was gone. In the balcony footage, Liam's tenderness toward Ava mirrored gestures he had once shown only to her. The betrayal cut sharper than any knife. By morning, she was back in the small kitchen of their Charleston home, signing delivery invoices for a nearby hotel, the aroma of pastries doing nothing to soothe the turmoil inside her. Her phone vibrated again, another message from Detective Harris. "I recorded their conversation in the parking lot. Sending the audio now." Olivia's hands trembled as she pressed play. Ava's voice, icy and ambitious, pierced the quiet. "Dad, hurry with the papers. I want the whole chain already. That old woman doesn't deserve any of it." Liam's deep voice followed, confident and smooth. "Don't worry. Olivia doesn't know. Leave it to me." A cold, suffocating wave washed over her. This was no fleeting affair. This was a calculated plan to strip her of everything she had built: the bakery, her home, her family. Olivia spent the day documenting every detail, saving files to her portable hard drive. By nightfall, her mind had begun to shift from despair to resolve. Liam stumbled in from the supposed meeting, smelling faintly of whiskey. His raspy voice complained about a difficult client. Olivia nodded, her practiced calm masking the fire raging inside. Once he retreated to sleep, she retrieved his car keys and opened the SUV in the garage. The tube of lubricant in the glove compartment confirmed their ongoing deception. She carefully replaced it with industrial superglue, replicating the original perfectly. A silent promise of retribution formed in her chest. Back inside, she returned the keys and feigned casual reading on the sofa. Each movement was deliberate, calculated, while she silently plotted the next phase of her plan. At 5 a.m., she rose, her body moving with precision honed over years in the bakery. A skillet of oil sizzled on the stove, a string attached to the igniter tied to a weight, ready to produce thick black smoke, the final step of her trap. She left the house in the guise of a business trip, crossing the street to Margaret's house. Through the window, she could observe Liam and Ava arriving later that morning. Her fingers gripped the phone, connected to the hidden recorder in her bedroom. She listened as the couple's laughter and whispered plans confirmed every suspicion. Then, with a gentle pull on the string, black smoke spiraled from the kitchen. Neighbors gasped. The fire department arrived. Ethan, her son, now a firefighter, led his team with tense authority. Olivia watched from across the street, her heart steady, as Liam and Ava's betrayal became public. The couple was eventually rescued, humiliated, and exposed, their lies irreversibly revealed. In the aftermath, Olivia handed Daniel the thick folder of evidence she had gathered, including divorce papers. Liam and Ava had lost everything. She hugged her son, feeling the shared pain, but also a glimmer of hope. Weeks later, the bakery thrived. Customers praised Olivia's resilience. Daniel moved in, helping her with daily operations. Slowly, they began to rebuild a life defined not by betrayal, but by love, persistence, and the small joys of everyday life, flan, pastries, and shared meals in the quiet of their kitchen. Olivia had lost much, but she had preserved her dignity, her business, and most importantly, her bond with her son. Part 2. Shadows of Deception. The weeks after the exposure of Liam and Ava were surreal. The Charleston streets buzzed with whispers of the scandal, and though Olivia walked among the neighbors with a composed exterior, every shadow reminded her of the betrayal she had endured. Yet, beneath the turmoil, a quiet determination took root, a resolve to protect what remained of her life and her family. Early mornings in the bakery became sacred. Olivia would arrive before sunrise, the soft hum of the city still sleeping outside, and knead dough with meticulous care. Each fold of pastry, each swirl of sugar and cream, was a ritual of reclaiming control. Daniel had moved in permanently, and together they worked in perfect synchrony. He managed deliveries, called hotel clients, and handled invoices, while Olivia concentrated on the ovens, the shaping of dough, and the artistry of her creations. One morning, as sunlight streamed through the wide front windows, Olivia noticed a man standing outside, peering in with a notebook in hand. His sharp eyes flicked to her, then to the bakery sign, Olivia's Artisan Bakery. She recognized him immediately. It was Detective Harris. He stepped inside with a calm smile, removing his hat respectfully. "Good morning, Olivia," he said softly. "I wanted to check in. Everything's under control now, but I thought you'd want to see something." He handed her a folder, thick with papers and photos. Olivia's heart tightened, but she kept her composure. Olivia tucked the folder safely in her purse. Her gaze shifted to Daniel, who was wiping down the counter, his face lined with concern. The man, really, had grown quiet over the past month, carrying a shadow of disappointment in his gaze. Yet, there was a glimmer of hope every time he smiled at her. That afternoon, a group of new clients came in, a local luxury hotel chain expanding its dessert orders. Olivia met with the manager, a sharp young woman named Madison, reviewing orders and discussing special pastries for upcoming events. Each agreement, each signature, reminded Olivia of her power and her skill. Liam had never been in the kitchen. He had never known the sweat and dedication it took to build a business from scratch. Ava had tried to step in and manipulate contracts, but Olivia's careful evidence and her reputation were shields against any renewed threat. After closing, Daniel lingered behind the counter, staring at the evening sky through the bakery's large glass windows. "Mom," he said softly, "do you think they'll ever come back? Liam and Ava, I mean." Olivia paused, rolling a ball of dough between her hands, thinking carefully. No, Daniel, she said finally. Not as long as we keep our lives together and stay vigilant. Their chapter is over. Ours is just beginning. Days turned into weeks. Olivia began to notice subtle changes in herself. The constant tension, the anger that had driven her to meticulous revenge, started to fade, replaced by a quiet confidence. She enrolled in a local cooking club, sharing techniques, laughing with other women, and teaching her signature flan recipe. Each interaction reminded her that life could still hold sweetness despite the bitterness she had endured. Meanwhile, Daniel slowly reconnected with his old friends. The initial shock of seeing his father and wife caught in such a humiliating act had left him withdrawn, but through small moments, checking orders, helping with deliveries, and evenings spent discussing pastry recipes, he began to heal. Olivia encouraged him subtly, sharing stories from the bakery's early days, teaching him not just recipes but resilience. One afternoon, Olivia received an unexpected visit. A young woman, dressed in professional attire, stepped into the bakery. Her eyes flicked around nervously before she focused on Olivia. "Ms. Reynolds?" she asked cautiously. "Yes," Olivia replied, setting down a tray of fresh eclairs. "How can I help you?" "My name is Hannah. I'm a reporter for the Charleston Daily. I wanted to interview you about the bakery." "About what happened with your family?" Olivia felt a tension in her chest. She had managed to keep her life private since the fire incident, but the reporter's eyes held a combination of curiosity and respect. She thought carefully. Public exposure wasn't what she sought, but perhaps this was an opportunity to control the narrative. "All right," Olivia said slowly. "But we'll talk here, in the bakery. Not outside. I want this story to be accurate, not sensationalized." Hannah nodded eagerly. She set up her small recording device on the counter. Olivia began slowly, recounting the history of the bakery, her beginnings in San Diego, the struggles, the victories. She spoke honestly, though carefully, about Liam and Ava's betrayal, focusing on the lessons learned rather than the pain endured. "The betrayal was devastating," Olivia said, her voice steady. "But it also taught me something crucial. Strength doesn't come from avoiding pain. Strength comes from facing it, from building something even when the world tries to tear it down." Hannah scribbled notes furiously, her eyes wide with admiration. When the interview ended, she smiled warmly. "Ms. Reynolds, this story, it's inspiring. People will see not just betrayal, but resilience." As the reporter left, Olivia glanced at Daniel, who had been quietly cleaning the espresso machine. He caught her gaze and nodded. No words were needed. Together, they were rebuilding more than a business. They were rebuilding trust, life, and love between mother and son. That evening, after closing, Olivia sat on the back porch of the bakery, a warm cup of tea in her hands. The streets were quiet, the aroma of baked bread still lingering in the air. She reflected on everything, the years of hard work, the lies, the revenge, and now the slow return to peace. In the distance, the faint buzz of traffic reminded her that life went on. And for the first time in months, Olivia felt a small but profound peace. The bakery was thriving, Daniel was healing, and she had reclaimed her life. Liam and Ava were gone from their world, and Olivia had proven to herself that betrayal could be overcome, not through malice alone, but through resilience, intelligence, and unwavering resolve. Yet, even in this calm, a small part of her mind remained vigilant. She had seen how people could deceive those closest to them. She had learned to prepare, to observe, and to never let her guard down again. The bakery, with its sweet aromas and bustling counters, was not just a place of business. It was a fortress, a symbol of her endurance and her intelligence. And in that sanctuary, Olivia knew one thing clearly. She would never allow anyone to take her life, her son, or her dignity again. The weeks that followed brought an uneasy rhythm to Olivia and Daniel's lives. The bakery had become a sanctuary, a fortress against the chaos Liam and Ava had once wrought. Yet, in the quiet moments, shadows of the past lingered, whispering in the corners of Olivia's mind. One early morning, as the first rays of sunlight filtered through the blinds, Olivia noticed a delivery van idling outside the bakery. Curious, she stepped out, wiping flour from her hands. The driver, a tall man with sharp features and a clipboard, approached. "Ms. Reynolds? Delivery for you," he said, handing over a large package. Olivia frowned. She hadn't ordered anything unusual. Carefully, she opened the box, revealing an array of high-tech security devices, cameras, motion sensors, and a compact digital recorder with multiple microphones. Attached was a note in precise handwriting. "For protection. Trust no one outside family. Detective Harris." Her pulse quickened. Liam and Ava were dangerous, desperate, and now exposed, but desperate people could be unpredictable. She called Daniel over. "Look at this," she said, showing him the devices. Daniel's eyes widened. "Mom, this is serious. We need to make sure they can't come after us again." Over the next few days, Olivia meticulously installed the cameras around the bakery and their home. Every corner, every entryway, every potential blind spot was monitored. For the first time, Olivia felt a strange sense of calm. She could anticipate trouble before it reached them. It wasn't just defense. It was PowerPoint one evening. As the bakery was closing, Olivia noticed a familiar black SUV parked across the street. Her heart skipped a beat. The license plate was partially obscured, but the scent of expensive cologne on the driver's side window made her stomach knot. Liam? Ava? Daniel, noticing her tension, came to her side. "Mom, do you see them?" Olivia nodded subtly. "Stay calm. Let's see what they're doing." Through the bakery's window, she watched as a man in a dark hoodie stepped out of the SUV. He approached the side door of the bakery, pretending to check the tires. Olivia's hand hovered over the discreet panic button she had installed. Then she noticed a flash of recognition, Ava's signature light-colored heels glinting in the dim streetlight. And there was Liam, leaning against the car, whispering sharply. The betrayal was unfinished. They hadn't given up. They were testing the waters, trying to intimidate, to regain control. Olivia remained calm. Slowly, she activated the cameras and microphones she had installed outside. Every word, every movement was recorded. She slipped back inside, closing the door quietly, and called Detective Harris. "Harris, it's happening again," Olivia whispered into her phone. "They're here. I need you now." Within 20 minutes, Harris arrived, followed by 2 uniformed officers. Liam and Ava froze when they noticed the police cars and the cameras now trained on them. "Stay where you are," Harris barked. "You're both under observation. Any attempt to enter will be considered trespassing and harassment." Ava's face paled, her carefully constructed arrogance slipping. "Olivia, You just what?" Olivia's voice rang clear, firm, and cold. "You tested my patience. Again." Liam stepped forward, trying to regain some composure. We didn't mean." "Don't speak." Olivia cut him off. "Every word you've ever said to betray me, every contract, every plan, you've been recorded. Every movement tracked. Your next step? I'm already prepared." Ava swallowed, panic rising in her eyes. "You can't." Olivia smiled faintly, a dangerous glimmer in her eyes. "I already have." Harris stepped forward, producing a stack of legal documents. "You two have been served with restraining orders. Any attempt to contact Olivia or Daniel will be prosecuted. And believe me, we have the evidence to ensure you pay for every single deceit." Liam and Ava looked at each other, stunned, defeated. Olivia's meticulous preparation, her vigilance, and her calm had turned the tables once more. Over the next few weeks, Olivia focused on rebuilding not only the bakery, but her own emotional strength. Daniel remained by her side, and together they began hosting small community events, baking workshops for children, charity drives, and tasting events for local hotels. Every smile from a customer, every word of praise, reminded Olivia that life could be sweet even after betrayal. One afternoon, as she prepared a fresh batch of croissants, Olivia felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to see Mrs. Peterson smiling warmly. "Olivia," she said, holding a tray of cookies, "the neighborhood is talking. Everyone says your strength is unmatched. You didn't just protect your business, You protected your son and yourself. That's rare. Olivia nodded, a quiet smile playing on her lips. Thank you, Mrs. Peterson. But it wasn't just me. Daniel helped. And, well, life taught me to anticipate betrayal, to prepare, and to never underestimate the power of vigilance. Mrs. Peterson chuckled. And you've done it beautifully. But, tell me, are you truly at peace? Olivia paused, kneading a piece of dough thoughtfully. Peace is something I'm learning every day. It's in these small moments, the oven's warmth, Daniel's laugh, the aroma of fresh bread. That's where I find strength. But shadows have a way of lingering. One night, as Olivia locked the bakery and headed home, she noticed a small envelope slipped under the front door. The handwriting was unfamiliar, jagged, and tense. She tore it open carefully. Inside was a single, chilling message. You can't hide forever. We're not done. Her stomach tightened, but she didn't panic. She calmly took a deep breath, placing the envelope in a drawer. Then, she called Detective Harris. I have another problem, she said calmly. But this time, I'm ready. Olivia had learned that betrayal could be painful, humiliating, and infuriating, but it had also forged her into someone unbreakable. The past had tried to crush her, but she had risen, stronger and wiser, ready for whatever came next, and in the quiet of Charleston, with the aroma of fresh bread drifting through the streets, Olivia Reynolds smiled. The battle wasn't over, but she was prepared for the next chapter. The days after the threatening envelope arrived, Olivia remained outwardly calm. Her bakery continued to thrive, each morning bringing new customers, fresh dough, and the comforting rhythm of a life rebuilt. But in the quiet moments, after Daniel left for his firefighter shift, after the last tray of croissants was packed, the shadow of the message weighed heavily on her. Olivia had always known that Liam and Ava were cunning, but now their desperation was tangible. They had tasted defeat, yet they were not finished. They would try again, in ways unseen, subtle, insidious. And Olivia, ever meticulous, was ready. One afternoon, Daniel returned from the firehouse, tired but alert. Mom, he said, dropping his firefighter bag by the door, there's been another delivery van outside the bakery. They didn't leave a note this time, but I thought you should know. Olivia's gaze sharpened. Show me. Outside, a plain white van idled, its windows tinted dark. A man in a hoodie stepped out, glancing around nervously, and placed a small box near the front door. He didn't ring the bell or knock, just left it there and walked away. Olivia carefully picked up the box and brought it inside. She opened it slowly, revealing a series of photographs and documents. Her heart skipped a beat as she recognized familiar faces. Liam and Ava, caught on camera meeting with unknown associates in the city, whispering and exchanging envelopes. One document contained plans that mirrored her bakery's supplier chain, an attempt to sabotage her business. Daniel leaned over, eyes wide. They're trying to hit you where it hurts, the bakery. Olivia nodded, her jaw tight. They're testing me, looking for weaknesses. But they don't know. I've anticipated every move. That night, Olivia worked late, installing the newly delivered security devices. Hidden cameras, microphones, and motion sensors would cover every inch of the bakery and their home. She created a secure cloud system where every recording would be stored, time-stamped, and encrypted. Liam and Ava would not only fail, they would be documented in every deceitful act. Daniel, noticing her meticulous focus, asked gently, Mom, you're not going too far, are you? Olivia smiled faintly, without warmth. I'm just protecting what's ours. That's all. The next morning, Olivia noticed unusual activity on the street. Two men, dressed in casual attire but carrying suspicious bags, lingered near the bakery. Olivia quickly activated the outdoor cameras and quietly watched. She recorded every step, every glance, every suspicious movement. When the men approached the bakery, Olivia remained behind the counter, appearing busy while observing them through her phone. One of them tried to peek inside the window. She pressed a discreet panic button under the counter, immediately alerting the local police and Detective Harris, Within minutes, the men, realizing they were being watched, fled, leaving their bags behind. Olivia called the police, who secured the items. Inside were tools meant to tamper with the bakery ovens and ingredients, proof that Liam and Ava's reach extended even here. Daniel's face was pale. "Mom, they're serious." Olivia placed a hand on his shoulder. "And that's why we've prepared for everything." Over the next week, Olivia trained Daniel to monitor the security system, teaching him how to track suspicious activity, review camera footage, and alert authorities instantly. The bakery, once a simple place of warmth and sweets, had become a fortress of vigilance. Despite the tension, Olivia refused to let fear control her life. She hosted a small baking workshop for neighborhood kids, teaching them to make chocolate tarts and strawberry flans. The children laughed, smeared flour on their faces, and asked endless questions. For a few hours, Olivia allowed herself to be simply a baker, not a strategist, not a vigilante, not a survivor of betrayal. Yet, as the sun set, her mind returned to the lurking threat point. One evening, Olivia received an anonymous call. The voice was distorted, electronically altered, but the message was clear. "You think you've won, but your victory is temporary. The Reynolds Bakery, your son, we will come for it all. Be ready." Her hand didn't tremble. She hung up and immediately contacted Detective Harris, forwarding the call and the number. "We know who it is," Harris said after a pause. "But you need to be careful. They're escalating. They're no longer hiding." Olivia nodded. "Then we escalate too." Over the next days, Olivia and Daniel implemented a new security protocol: biometric locks on all doors, automatic alerts to their phones for any unusual movement, a secure panic room in the bakery's basement with communication lines to Harris and the local police, backup cameras disguised as ordinary objects inside the bakery. Every corner of their world was now protected, yet Olivia never lost sight of her ultimate goal: not only to defend what she had but to confront Liam and Ava directly, exposing their lies, their schemes, and their betrayal once and for all. Late one night, as Olivia reviewed the footage from the day, she noticed something peculiar. A delivery van had circled the bakery multiple times, and the driver had dropped a small envelope, different from previous threats. Olivia zoomed in on the camera footage and noticed a faint logo on the envelope, the same company Liam and Ava had used in the past. Her pulse quickened. She immediately contacted Harris, sending him the footage and preparing a careful plan to intercept. The following morning, Olivia and Daniel waited in the bakery, pretending to open as usual. At precisely 10 a.m., a courier arrived, holding the suspicious envelope. Olivia calmly retrieved it, smiling at the man as Daniel subtly recorded everything with his phone. Inside the envelope were detailed blueprints, not only of the bakery, but of their home. Notes scribbled on the margins indicated the exact location of security cameras, entrances, and exits. Daniel's voice was low, tense. "Mom, they know everything." Olivia's gaze hardened. "Then it's time to make them see that knowing isn't enough." She reached for her phone, dialing Detective Harris. "Harris, it's time. Let's show them they can't win." The envelope had shaken Olivia, but it also ignited something deeper, a resolve she hadn't felt in decades. Every betrayal, every stolen glance, every whispered plan by Liam and Ava had led her to this moment. They thought they could manipulate her, take her son, her bakery, her life, but they had underestimated her. Olivia and Daniel spent the next 2 days meticulously preparing. Every camera angle was double-checked. Every microphone tested. Every blind spot mapped. Detective Harris coordinated with local law enforcement, ensuring that when Liam and Ava made their next move, they would not escape. The plan was simple but precise: allow Liam and Ava to approach the bakery under the guise of business, then capture them in the act of intrusion, exposing every deceitful scheme. Olivia knew they would come. They couldn't resist the chance to sabotage what she had built. At 8 p.m., under the fading light of the setting sun, the bell above the bakery door jingled. Olivia, standing behind the counter with a composed smile, saw 2 figures step inside. Liam, confident with a briefcase in hand. Ava, graceful and smug, her sunglasses reflecting the dim light. "Evening, Olivia," Liam said, forcing politeness. We have a proposition for you." Olivia's eyes narrowed, her smile never wavering.
À proposition?
"Yes," Ava said, her voice dripping with faux charm. "We think it's time to negotiate. We know you've been collecting evidence, and we want to settle things peacefully." Olivia's heart raced, but her voice was calm. "Peaceful? After everything you've done? After trying to destroy my life, my business, my family?" Liam's smile faltered slightly. "It's business, Olivia. Just business." Olivia's gaze swept over the room. Cameras captured every movement, every microexpression. Every word spoken was being recorded. "Then let's proceed, shall we?" she said. "Step forward. Open the briefcase." They obeyed, smirking slightly, confident in their manipulation. Olivia discreetly activated hidden microphones under the counter and within shelves. Every rustle of paper, every whispered conversation would now be evidence of their treachery. As Liam opened the briefcase, Olivia's eyes locked on a folder marked "Bakery Expansion, Secret Plan." Inside were forged contracts, falsified signatures, and a step-by-step guide to divert suppliers and clients away from her business. "You never learn, do you?" Olivia said softly, her voice cutting through the false bravado of the couple. "You think you can take what I've built without facing consequences?" Ava's smile faltered. "Olivia, you don't understand," but Olivia didn't let her finish. She pressed a small button under the counter. Instantly, a pre-recorded audio clip from Detective Harris played through discreet speakers. "This is Detective Harris. Olivia Reynolds has coordinated with local law enforcement. Liam and Ava, you are under observation for multiple attempted frauds and harassment. Any further action will be met with immediate arrest." The couple froze. Olivia stepped closer, holding the folder of evidence. "All of this, every step you've taken against me, my son, my bakery, it's all documented. You have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide." Daniel stepped out from the back, his firefighter uniform replaced with plain clothes, but a determined aura around him. "Dad."
Ava.
"This ends tonight." Ava tried to laugh, nervously, but her composure shattered. "Daniel, it's not what it looks like." Olivia's eyes burned. "It's exactly what it looks like. You lied, betrayed, and schemed. And now, justice will be served." Liam, realizing the depth of their exposure, reached for the briefcase, but it was too late. Detective Harris, along with 2 uniformed officers, entered the bakery. "Step away from the evidence," Harris commanded. "You are under arrest." Panic overtook Liam and Ava. They tried to escape, but every exit was covered, every move tracked. The officers handcuffed them, reading their rights. The bakery, once a symbol of warmth and creation, had become the stage for their downfall. Olivia, standing beside Daniel, felt an overwhelming wave of relief. The tension, the fear, the sleepless nights, all of it culminated in this moment. Liam and Ava, once threatening everything she loved, were powerless, their schemes exposed to law enforcement and the entire community. Daniel placed a hand on her shoulder. "Mom, we did it. You protected everything." Olivia smiled, tears welling up. "No, Daniel, we did it. Together." In the following weeks, Olivia's bakery flourished even more. News of Liam and Ava's arrest spread through the neighborhood. Customers arrived in record numbers, showing support, admiration, and pride. Olivia and Daniel worked side by side, baking pastries, managing deliveries, and rebuilding the trust and warmth that had been nearly stolen. Evenings became peaceful again. Olivia and Daniel shared simple meals in the small kitchen, talking about dreams, work, and the small joys that made life meaningful. Occasionally, they laughed about the past, but they never forgot the lessons it had taught them. Olivia also found time for herself. She joined cooking clubs, shared recipes, and even volunteered at the local community center, teaching children the art of baking. Her life had been scarred by betrayal, but her heart remained resilient, full of love for her son, her craft, and herself. Months later, as Olivia prepared a fresh batch of flan for a hotel order, Daniel leaned against the counter. "Mom, I think it's time we expand again. This time, nothing can stop us." Olivia chuckled, placing a hand on his shoulder. "We'll do it together, Daniel. Always together. And this time, we build on trust, not lies." The bakery bell jingled.
Customers streamed in.
The smell of caramel and sugar filled the air. Outside, the sun shone brightly on the streets of their town, a reminder that even after the darkest betrayals, life could be sweet once again. Olivia looked at Daniel, smiled, and whispered to herself, "We survived. We are stronger. And we will never be broken again." The bakery was quiet that morning, the golden sunlight streaming through the large front windows like a promise of something better. Olivia wiped her hands on her apron, inhaling the familiar scent of freshly baked bread and caramelized sugar. It wasn't just the aroma of pastries, it was the aroma of survival, of triumph over betrayal. Daniel, now fully adjusted to living with her, moved around the kitchen with calm efficiency, setting trays and checking orders. His earlier shadows had faded. There was still a seriousness in his eyes, a reminder of the trauma he had witnessed, but there was also a light, a resilience Olivia had only dared hope for. "Mom," Daniel said quietly, his voice soft, "I was thinking, maybe we could open a new branch. One that focuses on community classes. Baking for kids, adults, anyone who wants to learn." Olivia smiled, a warm, proud smile. "I like that idea, Daniel. We turn our bakery into more than just a business, a place where people feel safe, happy, and inspired." She paused, thinking of the years she had poured into her craft, the betrayals, the near destruction, and how far they had come. It hadn't been easy. She had walked through fire, literally and figuratively, but she had endured. And now, she could rebuild not only her bakery but also her life. The scandal with Liam and Ava had left ripples through the neighborhood. Yet, instead of shame and ridicule, Olivia found support. Community members visited more often, sharing kind words, bringing flowers, and offering help with supplies. Mrs. Peterson became a constant presence, her warm eyes reflecting pride and unwavering friendship. One afternoon, Olivia received a call from a local charity organization. They wanted her to teach baking workshops for underprivileged children, to pass on not just her skills but her story of resilience. Olivia accepted, seeing an opportunity to transform pain into purpose. The first workshop was a triumph. Olivia knelt beside a group of wide-eyed children, showing them how to knead dough, sprinkle sugar, and carefully layer pastry sheets. Their laughter and awe reminded her of all she had once dreamed of sharing. "Mom," Daniel said quietly, watching from the doorway, "you're doing more than baking. You're inspiring." Olivia's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "I hope so, Daniel. That's all I ever wanted, to make life a little sweeter for others, even after all the bitterness I've seen." Evenings became moments of reflection. Olivia and Daniel sat in their small kitchen, sharing simple meals. Sometimes it was just bread and coffee, sometimes rice and beans, but each meal was filled with warmth and conversation. Daniel spoke more freely now, opening up about his work as a firefighter, about small victories and moments where he had to stay strong. "Mom," Daniel said one evening, "thank you for everything, for protecting me, for saving the bakery, and for saving us both." Olivia placed her hand over his. "No, Daniel, you saved us both. You've been strong, brave, and kind through all of it. We did this together." They sat in silence for a moment, the hum of the city outside mingling with the quiet comfort of their home. The world had moved on. Liam and Ava were facing legal consequences. Their reputation destroyed, their schemes exposed. They had no place in Olivia's life, or Daniel's. Social media buzzed briefly with news of the scandal, but eventually, the focus shifted back to community heroes and local businesses thriving. Olivia's bakery became a symbol of perseverance, a place where people came not only for pastries, but for a story of courage and endurance. Olivia took long walks with Mrs. Peterson, their conversations ranging from neighborhood gossip to reflections on life's lessons. "You know, Olivia," Mrs. Peterson said one afternoon, "everyone still talks about what happened, but they also talk about you.
How you handled it.
You're the one who truly won." Olivia chuckled softly. "Maybe, but it didn't come without cost. I lost a family, but I found a life worth living again." Months turned into a year. The bakery expanded, community workshops flourished, and Olivia finally made time for herself. She joined the local church, meditating and praying, finding inner peace that had eluded her for decades. She even allowed herself to dream again, imagining a future where the bakery was more than a business. It was a legacy, a place of warmth, education, and love. Daniel continued to work alongside her, proud and steadfast. He had healed in small ways, rediscovering laughter and hope. The bond between mother and son had grown stronger than ever. They didn't need the past to define them. They had each other, their bakery, and a life rebuilt on honesty and love. One quiet evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Olivia looked around the bakery. Freshly baked pastries cooled on trays, the smell of coffee lingering in the air. Daniel arranged the chairs, humming softly. Olivia smiled to herself. The pain, betrayal, and sleepless nights had forged a new strength within her. She whispered softly, more to herself than anyone else, "We survived. We endured. And now we thrive." Outside, the streets glimmered in the fading light. The world was moving forward, and Olivia Reynolds, baker, mother, and survivor, was finally at peace.